continued the matriarchy of subject, the cosmic orgasm. Barbara Messianics, Pleiadians from here on called the Pleiadians, plain and simple to distinguish from Barbara and close Pleiadians, who I from now on will call Pleiadians B, are often talking about the divine feminine and mother goddess in their books and lectures. Here is an example, another excerpt from Marcianic's excellent book, Earth, the Pleiadian Keys and the Living Library. The Pleiadians also talk about the galactic center being the womb of the mother, of course referring to the female womb and genitalias, therefore referring to the galaxy as the rest of the universe to be feminine in nature. I don't think so. It's just I don't know, it's just something like, it's just a paranoia, but I don't think it's a male female. It's just what it is. It's neutral. There is a pretty interesting concept if we take it to another level. Look at the following picture. So what? It doesn't look like a female genital or whatever. It's just what it is. To me, it's a circle. I mean the wheel of life. What do we see? Well, if you follow the Pleiadian concept, we have the womb of the mother in the middle. There's no such thing as a mother or father there. It's all neutral. Mother, father, we have in words like that, okay, the dense word. But in the cosmos, the void is all neutral and absolute. I think is what it is. It's not male, neither it is female. We have the womb of the mother in the middle. That's nonsense. It's all paranoia. The galactic center with millions of stars clustered close together, so it looks like one single supergiant star when in fact there are many. Then in the middle, impossible to see in this picture, is a giant black hole. It sure looks like a great cosmic orgasm. I don't see it as a cosmic orgasm. Again, it's more paranoia. It's a human paranoia. It has nothing to do with what it is in reality, in absolute reality. In a way, we might say that it is. When a nebulae and the stars shoot out from the womb of... There's no such thing as the womb of the mother. It's just what it is. It's the cosmos. For goodness sake, it's a cosmos. Let's stop this nonsense of religions, paranoias. But if there's no such thing as a mother and father, it is what it is. It's the cosmos. But the mother gave birth. There's no such thing to a galaxy by being impregnated. It has to be done if a male energy evolved. That's nonsense. Only because they created this ordinary stupid universe, male and female, the yin and the yang, the black and the white. It doesn't mean that it has to be this way, and it is this way in other galaxies and the multiverse. There's no such thing. It's all here in this universe alone. One would think. This is not impossible either, as the goddess created both gender and just can be both. However, the nebulae, that's not goddess who created, was the cosmos. The quarks, the atoms, the nebulae and stars, and even the galaxy itself as a whole is pure feminine. There's no such thing, Duri. Feminine energy, so it's more likely that the galaxies were created in a different way. But how? Just by itself like that, just like that, ping! Okay, started. What a nonsense of paranoias, just paranoia, something so simple and logical. They make a tempest out of a cup of water. is done by sound. Yeah, the sound, but doesn't mean there's a male and female. There's no sense. The universe is made up by sound. Another thing we will detail more in the next paper. If we could expand yourself so you can see the whole universe from above, you would be able to hear the symphonies of the galaxies. Yeah, of course, something I was teaching people from the time I was 14 years old, and which I now get confirmed by my research. Now, take a look at the galaxy again. Imagine that you can shrink this particular galaxy to a size where it fits in a big table, which represents the universe, one, multi, many, on the part of the universe close to the galaxy. Pretend that the stars and clusters you see are giant of salt, but not yet spiral-like, but everything is just around the sphere. Then apply certain sound frequencies to the table. What would happen? They go in circle. If all grains of salt were gathered in a huge galactic center, eventually by applying particular sound frequencies, you would get a similar spiral pattern like the one you have in Figure 9. In the picture, you can almost see that if you applied more sound to it, it would scatter and move even more. This is how it is done. Each galaxy looks different from its neighbor, and that's because they vibrate on different sound frequencies. Of course, this is exciting revelation because you also know that dimensions and densities vibrate on different frequencies. Of course, it's all about frequency, lower and higher, slow and fast. Does it mean that each galaxy, if they all vibrate slightly different, are starting the evolution of life in slightly different densities, so the universe can let... There's no such thing as Mother Goddess. Mother Goddess experience more. It's most certainly so. Inanna, the female rebel. Inanna está. Some say that Barbara Marciniak claims that it governs India. This thing of no goddess or gods are all invention, all humans' inventions are paranoia. There's no such thing. These beings are just creatures just like us. In Sishin's work, Inanna is portrayed as a female warrior who had engulfing appetite for man and sex. Ugh. Nymph might be very ugly. She selected anyone she could find who had a phallus. Might be ugly female. It was ugly. She slept with anyone who could have a phallus, figuratively speaking, and even open up a whole house which she ran and participated in. To put it mildly, Sishin did not put Inanna in a positive light, and why would he? He even claimed that she killed her lovers after they had satisfied her. What was that? A Plantes or a Black Widow spider? And it could be. Who knows? She is the spider, Sekhmet. And she was a merciless war goddess whose main attention was on power and sex. This is probably where the myth of the Black Widow is originally coming from. Black Widow, for those who don't know, is also a spider who eats her male after she is impregnated, and so does the play mantis. Anton Parks, on the other hand, tells another story, that of Sishin's. Parks claimed that Sishin has misinterpreted the Sumerian texts, and that Inanna in fact supported the cult of the Mother Goddess, as he calls it, and was therefore a rebel and hated by the patriarchal controllers of the earth at the time. Hey, I'm gonna make it something clear. For you to say that you are a matriarch, for you in order for you to let everybody know that you are a strong female, you don't need to go around sleeping around, you don't need to open up your dress in public and show boobs or whatever. You can be strong in your own way. In a dignity is one of the main sign, is the main um, how to say virtue of being courageous and be a female and be strong. You don't need to say that you are strong by sleeping around. That's nonsense. That's stupidity to me. Her courage to openly practice the religion of the divine feminine brought her singular reprisals from the gods in the Mesopotamian texts, and also from the adepts of Yahweh of the Bible, who is a composite of many gods. Mostly the Anunnaki Lord, Namu, the Enlil, and King Anu. I didn't know they were serious. I swear I didn't know. Uruk, which was the town designed to Inanna, was, according to Parks in his English translator, Jerry Zailin, the seat of prostitutes and daughters of joy. Now, if you look up the word prostitution, we find that it's Latin and means to put up front for sale or to place forward, and was originally not referring to someone who charged for sex to feed sex-hungry man. On the contrary, Parks and Zailin are stating that here is where humans were instructed in the initiation of man into sacred sexuality. Woman or whore? That's whore. Cheapy whore who gives it for free is worse than a prostitution. So she was not opening a whole house in our sense of the word, but a place where man and a human could learn about sacred sex. There's no such thing as sacred sex and censor. It's just an excuse to be cheap and degrading, opposed to having sex just to ejaculate and leave the human unsatisfied. So what? Just don't give at all. If you rape, there's another thing. You are not giving for free. You are being forced to. That's why it's called RAPE. Is it? But if you give for free like this, you open leg for everybody and you are whore. Why do you need that in the first place? Why do you? Regardless of your age. So there's no such thing as this is a cursed sex. A cursed sex. Maldito sex. Opposed to having sex just to ejaculate. No, rubbish. Why they need to be satisfied? They'll be satisfied in the workplace. Go be satisfied in the intellect, human, not in the bed. Have some shame. Have dignity as a woman. Especially when human are, as most of us know. So what? So what? It doesn't hurt anybody. It is elevate somebody. It's good. This is very good because you drop one aspect of yourself for something much higher. This nonsense of sex is very cheap. It's for low class people. Low class people. That's why there's an idiot Arab here who complain about my speech here online, and I don't care. I don't care. Find a way. Multi-orgasmic. So why you need this for, man? There's so many things to. We can walk, we can cook, we can bake, we can go out, you can walk outside and inside the house. You can take care of children, you can take care of pets, we can take care of a garden, a plate. Why do you need sex for? For what? It's so overrated. The male gods who were on earth in ancient times really had sex for the purpose of domination and control because they have bitches who open up for them. They are males, and the males are stupid, and they like to droop that low when the thing is sex. Okay, if you want to fool a male, you act as a slut to them, and they will love it. So, for a while, until they use them, and then they kick them on the backside and get out of their lives. Okay, and things can become worse if you go after them. Go after this male. So, and to extend their power in bloodlines, failing, as we have discussed earlier, to fully understand the female orgasm and real sex magic. That's nonsense. However, they didn't know that the females carry the secrets of the universe within. I don't think so. Everybody has, only like females are more sensitive, more emotional. But they didn't understand what it is or how to get it, although they certainly went away and beyond to try to get it. Inanna and her team apparently taught men they thought were ready to learn, or relearn rather, how sacred sex worked. Rubbish. I can only imagine how this must have infuriated the Anunnaki power elite. The story doesn't tell what the Anunnaki did to the males who were initiated in these rituals, though. Were they tasked to reveal the secrets of what happened? For those interested in this subject, here is something to further research. Later on, I'll explain to the reader that the term Anunnaki is misleading and a lot of Fishin's mistranslations. But until I get to that point, I will use the term Anunnaki for the negativities from Sirius and the planet Sam Mi, and who are discussed in level, I don't know which level. Another thing to mention here is that Inanna is simply a title that can be used by anybody and is normally not designed to a person. It stems from Ayana, again meaning an extension of the mother. But be her daughter is her daughter, okay? The Queen of Orion daughter. However, this doesn't mean a person couldn't take on that title and use it as her name. We do similar things here on Earth. The great suppressed power of the feminine. Our bodies are comprised of billions of tiny little fires, electrical particles called molecules and atoms, the expert learned man tell us. This quote is taken from Robert Morningsky's opening paragraph of his 2008 Eridu papers, which are no longer online. Wow! The thing is that every second of our existence, our nerve endings send about 100 million signals to our body and our brains. Still, studies have showed that our best day we utilize only 40 of these signals. That's what we call our warnings. And those who use 40 is lucky now. I think some only take about 10 to 5. This really puts things a little bit more in perspective. We are talking about the human body here, which while we are on Earth is our nerve center, the vessel which helps us to perceive the universe from a 3D perspective. However, no one in human form can today even begin to understand the capacities that our biological bodies have. They are highly multidimensional and have the potentials to send and receive on all levels of the multidimensional cosmos. It's like a hypersensitive antenna. Level 1, we were talking about how parts of our DNA, which our bodies in the original form had in a functional state to be able to stay multidimensional, were cut off basically by limiting the frequency range of which it can perceive reality, resulting in us being disconnected from the majority of the multiverse. On purpose, they did it on purpose. This is what I see between the lines in Morningsky's statement. All the great majority of signals are just passing us by and we don't ever notice them. Yeah, because we are too engrossed in the modern stuffs, all the dramas. Now, when we are becoming more aware, we are picking up more of these signals into our junk DNA. As our junk DNA is being reactivated. Those mention something similar in her excellent book, Bringers of the Dawn. Robert Morningsky, like many ancient native tribes, equated the soul with fire, the fire within, which is a gift from the Creator that makes the goddess dimensions accessible to the beings of different realities. Way back in time, says Morningsky, There were those who practiced the rites of sacred ecstasy of the goddess, when people lived much closer to earth and nature around them. This made them much more psychic and multidimensional, and they understood the power of the divine feminine. These rites still exist in somewhat watered down versions amongst native peoples around the world. I don't think they do it for the goddess. No, no, no. They do for a male god, Tupã, or many other names, terms. They don't do it for any female figure. That's nonsense. That's a lie. But even there are a lot of knowledge. A lot of knowledge has been lost over time. Today's rite closest to the original ones can be found in Siberian shamanism. Robert goes on talking about shamanism, the ways of magic and sorcery, and how they were the ways and rites of sacred ecstasy. These were not rites of sex, he points out, but rites of fire. And those rituals, a human and the throes of ecstasy could leave the real world, the 4%, and connect with the other world, the 96% of all there is, which is otherwise not accessible to humans to any significant degree. For a moment, to see human could be truly omnidimensional. If practiced, human could then surrender to embrace this ecstasy and delve deeper and deeper into the other world. Just once they mastered their ecstatic experiences, they could get closer and closer to the ultimate divine, the Mother Goddess. How they do it? Through this thing. Okay, no, okay, good. I mean, do a ritual that doesn't include sex, that's okay, but to income nonsense of male-female sex, that sucks. Unfortunately, these old secrets and their are lost to mankind. Once the patriarchal regime took over, after the ET Invader Forces rose into power, man also rose to become commanders of the rites. Man, however, did not and do still not understand and know the hidden language of ecstasy, and as Robert calls it. This man assigned their own value to something they did not know, and soon the divine feminine had been transformed to the divine masculine. The rites that previously allowed the humans who participated in them, a woman and a man, to tune to the goddess universe, now instead kept mankind trapped in the real world. Ecstasy became forbidden, and denial and suppression of the fire was now the key to the other world, paradise, claimed the man of power to further emphasize their correctness in this. They claimed having direct contact with the divine, exactly, the male organized religion that calls Jehovah in what we have now from Sirius. After years of research and numerous travels within the USA and other countries, visiting natives and participating and learning about their rituals and religions, Morning Sky came to the conclusion that the universe is certainly feminine, and Morning Sky didn't like feminine, he doesn't like woman, and he's not quite, he's not quite hetero, he's homo, alright? He's homo. Only fully not notice that dude there is homo. Why would he like a woman for? For what? Why would he talk about men and female sex for? That doesn't make no sense, all this reading here, sorry. And nature and God actually should not be Father God, but Mother Goddess. This Morning Sky talked bad about the Queen of Orion. He bad mousy hair in Naishita. He called them Little Peach, not to say that word B-I-T-C-H. Notice the universe of divine neuter, but feminine and its essence. And all these people, shaman people, are chauvinistic, misogynistic. They are misogynistic. They are pro-male, not pro-female. That's not true. They are equal to these people in Asia and Europe, in the Americas, etc. So he found out that the earliest practices of shamanism were based on increasing the bioelectricity of the human body. Even the West African are less misogynist than those other people. Okay? So there are different ways to achieve this increase, but the easiest way is to take advantage of the natural powers that humans have. And this is what the scientists did. Later on, these women were called high priestesses, and a woman could access these powers from within, exploited them. She generated an enormous amount of electrical energy, which, if it could be absorbed, could be used in the outside world. She became like a lightning rod attracting the natural energy of the earth, and a generator that focused this energy into usable force. In level 1, talk about that the human DNA is a part of the living library, and that our DNA is encoded. And there is a key to the library which we humans have hidden in our genes. This key is something many extraterrestrials want to get access to, because that would make them in charge of the library. So far, the key has remained hidden. Monisky mentions this as well in his Iridu papers I discovered. He says that the female fire is the missing key to the Terra papers, and that he has been pondering for a long time why the Queen of the Stars, the Orion Queen, wanted so desperately to acquire what is hidden within human beings. Wait a minute. Not long ago, you once told that this is the queen, the goddess, this and that, the force to exist, and now you say that they want it from us? So who is right here in to say that when these aliens came here, we were already our ancestral, at least, were already in here? What have I said earlier? You see how they always strip? The Queen of the Star, the Orion Queen, wanted so desperately to acquire what was hidden within human beings. Oh, if she were all the might one, surely she will know, isn't it? She or any other serious god. And why they have to come here and find out and try to find out who you were? Why? Because they are creatures, we are. And the true gods are the cosmos, the quarks. The Scientologists are right. My God, this is like put 1 price 1, 2, 2 price 2, 4, 4 price 4, 8, and so on and so forth. He asks the question, what had Lord Enkaya embedded in us? This is a good question, however. I think the answer may not lie with Lord Enkaya, but this code may have been put in our DNA before Enkaya even came to the picture. Surely, do you have any doubt? Sure, that's why they are coming here, because they want to find out our specialty, our unique DNA. I believe it was put there by the original life designers, by the quarks, by the atoms. Monisky's conclusions are that we humans shall achieve the stars and the other world, not through technology, which is grounded by the 4% reality, but through our own fire. Yeah, correct? With which we can reach into the 96% other world. The rites of sacred ecstasy are about the fire residing naturally in a human, and a fire that man wants to possess. Yeah, that's why they are human and go about around and killing spree. The mainstream scientific community and their pseudoscience. We are going to stay to Robert Monisky and parts of the Siridu papers for a little bit longer, because he has a very sobering view on how the science community tunes into this thing with dark matter, dark energy. Robert is telling us that the experts of our world, amongst whom he mentions astronomers, physicists, and scientists, say that our universe is made up of 21% dark matter. This experting, however, can't tell us what dark matter is. All they know is that it is invisible. It is present, and they have no clue how it affects our real world. It does, in a very negative way. Then Robert continues, we have the Estonian partner to dark matter with this dark energy. The best expert in the world are telling us that dark energy makes up 75% of the universe. These experts can't tell us what dark energy is either. So here we are with 75% dark energy plus 21% dark matter, equal 96% of the universe that no one can explain or has a clue to what it is or what it does. Left is 4% of the universe which the expert can address, but even this tiny 4% can only be explained to a small degree. This ultimately leaves us with a tiny little fraction of the entire universe that the experts can actually explain. Or can they even do that? I'm not trying to be cynical, but just a matter of fact. The truth is that an average man has 16,731 billion particles of dark matter passing through his body every second of every single day. Now, there is 3 times as much dark energy as there is dark matter. Hence, an average man has nearly 17 billion particles of dark matter penetrating his body every second of the day, and 51 billion particles of dark energy, while humans have 15 billion particles of dark matter and 45 billion particles of dark energy penetrating held about every second of the day. These calculations are based on the average height and body mass of males and females. Then the fact remains, we humans are constantly being penetrated by particles we can't even begin to understand how they affect us. And ultimately, they affect very negatively. Now I ask, if the human have 45 billions of dark energy, is that dark energy which can negatively impact people? How come in the males has about 17 billions of these particles, which is dark energy, dark matter. Then of dark energy, and the men have 51 billions. Yeah? Oh, he has 51 billion. Okay, sorry. The man has 51 billion of dark energy and the human 45 billion. That means the male have more, and that's why they are more tempted to do evil, because this dark energy is pure evil. Dark energy is pure evil. Even though the dark matter could create something, still the dark energy that permeates it is very much negative. And that's explain why males are more evil than female, and do more injustice and more evil things here. So that's correct. So then the fact remains, we humans are constantly being penetrated bombarded by particles we can't even begin to understand how they affect us. They affect negatively. No question about it. And ultimately, the so-called expert in our science community, whom are very authoritarian and firm about their status when it comes to knowledge about how the universe works, can't explain 96% of the universe. Still, they think they know how things work, what is real and what is not. And that's exactly my point, and has always been, as well as the morning skies. And I could pray tell, how can experts who cannot definitively explain even 4% of the universe, and who freely admit that they cannot explain 96% of the universe, confidently and without doubt say that mysterious entities and mysterious powers cannot exist? Because they want to bluff people here to believe that this is only a material dense universe, and there's nothing beyond this material world, because they want people to live in the matrix and live for the matrix and live in the matrix and live in these fantasies and be covered from the outside world. So they want to disclose, but they are in doubt. I believe that many of them are in doubt, but they don't want to lose their jobs, they don't want to lose their power and their status. So lie they must, even for themselves. This is not just amazingly narrow-minded and ludicrous, but also arrogant to the extreme. Exactly. If we think about it, we humans in our reality are and must be in minority. The real world must then in fact be the remaining 96%, and we are the oddballs in the larger scheme of things. But of course, according to the science community, magic, shamanism, and the other world cannot exist. they, they think that it's just a figment of the imagination. In fact, it can be, but most of the time it is not, it's real. But in some people it can be, it's just a paranoia, or the medical, psychological world figures it out and invent it, that it must be paranoia. In fact, if this chapter was the only thing you ever read in your life and took it to heart, you will, per definition, have a much broader perspective of the universe and reality than anyone within the mainstream science community, in my humble opinion. As Morning Sky so accurately points out, the same experts say that the natives live in a world of myth and fantasia, and that they live in the world of truth and reality, because they don't know what's reality and truth. But who lives in a fantasia world and who does not? In fact, the natives were doing just fine before the white man came. But hey, I believe that place down there belongs to Europe and Russia. So what you are talking about? This native come from China, dude. From that one, Mongolia, ancient Egypt, all the Sumeria, which stay on the Pacific, which war in the Pacific. They come from ancient China. They came from ancient Egypt. So what you are talking about? They who invaded the white people land. It's the other way around, but the people who are the entities that are behind all this kind of distorted all around. They thwarted the truth, and claims that the white man took over, but it took over these people land, but once the opposite. And if you tell me, oh, but they were there about 10,000 years before, how are you sure that they are there 10,000 years? Even if they were 12, 15, so what? There are white race down there in Agatha that were there in what you call ocean, Atlantic Ocean, for millions of years. Now, tell me, what's more, millions or maybe 1,000 years, 700 years? What's more? Unfortunately, we have listened too long to our experts who have done nothing but miss and disinform us, and most people in the civilized world have swallowed their lies and arrogancy with the hook and sinker. Hey, let's not point fingers, okay? Because they are doing what they're supposed to do. They are here to do that. On the other hand, the one that you are siding also, have some very creepy aspect to themselves. So nobody is totally perfect here. Neither side is right or wrong, for that matter. The consequences of this is that we have father and father disconnected from the real world and embracing the fantasia world of science, and the educated, really brainwashed and manipulated authorities. Also think of a god and a god as also is a fantasia. This also is fantasia to me. The illusion, the paranoia, schizophrenia. Only a few hundred years ago or less, people could still to a certain degree connect with the spiritual world and entities and beings of other dimensions and densities. Yeah, they exist, but why you want to keep on touch with them for? For what? What can they offer you in terms of positivity? Are they here to for the betterment of humankind? I don't think so. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done what they did some time ago, 500,000 years ago, isn't it? Even my own mother, who was brought up in the northern parts of Sweden, and see, I knew, even before nobody told me, I knew he was Swedish. I knew it. Since when I follow his, he had one channel, I'm not gonna tell where, a channel about subliminal, isochronic stuff, I was to listen to this sound, which heal men, let's say diseases, but ailments, and I believe that, and it really heals. It really happens. So at the time he didn't put any picture or name there, but I found, I don't know why I felt that I feel that this guy is a Swedish. Now, true enough, he's a Swedish guy. In the 1920s and 1930s. Yeah, my mother was born in the 1920s, when they were still farmers and lived close to the vast forests in the part of the world. My mother also was a farmer, has told me stories about how people saw things that they couldn't explain. Like my mother too, about werewolves, entities that slept at her in the haunted houses, and a woman entities who came to give her a chest of gold and tell her to go alone at midnight in the backyard, and that she will see a lot of things, and it's for her not to tell anybody, but because she was about, I don't know how old, but she was a teen, like 14, 15-year-old, and so she, out of fear, she told her father and mother and asked them to accompany her to the backyard at midnight. And then there the entity told her that she will find a silver fork, and she had to pluck up this fork, and pluck up, she may see some images, very eerie and scary one, but it's for her not to be afraid. And she will have to unearth, excavate this the soil, and beneath it there was a treasure, chest of gold. But she told her parents went to see her one night at midnight, and when they pull up that fork, that silver fork, what they found there was all black ants and coil. What they call it? Yeah, coil. Not coil, what's the name? Is charcoal, all black. And they saw what looked like devilish lion-like entities, and a lot of entities with fiery red eyes, and a very strong wind almost brought down the tree, and they went inside the house. And later the entity came to her and scolded her for telling her parents, which the accord was not for her to tell the parents. about this chest, because the chest was for her. See, this one's so in that party, like farmer close to the forest, that part of the world has told me stories about people saw things that they couldn't explain, like gnomes, fairies, and other for us strange creature they called mitras. Still, this was quite normal, and people didn't mind talking about it and comparing notes when they visited each other. Yeah, I believe that. We could go on comparing how scientists work with their so-called evidence and how a spiritual person works. But I think the reader gets the point, the point. Like I said, it's quite sobering and mind-bogglingly how we in the Western societies have been lied to and steered away from our multidimensional selves to narrow our band of perception to such a degree that we don't even think that anything outside our senses is real. No, that's true. Latin America is comprised of spirituality. People there live as if this is spirituality nonsense. And there's a hell. Wherever there's this nonsense, there's a hell. So it's better to stay like agnostic or whatever because it's more prosperous this way. It's more less harmful for you. Now we have to rewire our brain by first disagreeing with the same authorities who have taught us what is real and not, and then once again connect with nature and what is way and beyond this planet that we live on to be able to get some real learning done. For what you get entangled with all this spiritual stuff? You go backwards and then in the end what you get? You open a portal, you don't know open portal and your place turned to hell. And thanks for this mindset that Sweden and Scandinavia still a safe society compared to many other sides of Europe, Russia, Americas, Asia, Africa, isn't it? True or not? In Middle East, true or not? Australia also is borderline more or less. Other than that, America is a hell, Asia is a hell, Africa is a hell. I don't care what people think and say. In a part of Europe and Russia, that's true. Huh? You like or not, it's true. Sometimes you need to be slapped with a truth than deceived with a lie. And who is behind the science community? That's right, the same controlling forces that have been around for almost 500,000 years, perhaps more, and whose front man and front human are the global elite. By some called the Illuminati. Come on, this is already paranoia. I don't believe there's only the Illuminati. And you can also quite clearly see how they are manipulating us to keep us within the frequency band they want us trapped, so that we are more easily controlled. Within the obvious examples brought up in this chapter, you, the readers, can easily expand your consciousness to include religion, politics, the monetary system, and education, and this whole conspiracy against humankind. So now, when we come full circle on this, we can go on and talk some more about these multidimensional forces who most people don't know exist, who belong to the world we cannot see and are therefore by definition invisible. Yeah, and the fourth dimension above, unless they decide to show themselves, which they can and do on occasion, or we expand our consciousness so we can see them. I never asked to see them and I saw this has been now stopped already. Last time was the beginning of this year. We are going to go back in time way before Homo sapiens were created, and then tell the story about the creation of we humans from a perspective that I found much more accurate and explanatory than of Sitchin's, although I would say that the two stories, the one about the Anunnaki told by Sitchin and the one I'm about to tell, are complementary of each other, and one does not necessarily exclude the other. This will be clear as we move on, and the reason why I wrote the first level of learning. With that said, let us go back to Genesis. How and by which forces, in addition to the Mother Goddess, was the universe created? Follow me on the fantastic journey through time which starts from the beginning and ends in the near future, a journey spanning over billions and billions of years. Well, stay tuned for our continuation on this segment by Wayne Spenar. See ya.